we are sort of conditioned to think about nature as constantly scaling up, right?
Mm-hmm.
The pressure to be faster, stronger, and yeah, often just biggest.
Absolutely. Throughout evolutionary history, size has usually offered an incredible advantage.
Defense, competition, reaching resources. Seems obvious.
It's the dominant story of life on Earth, for sure. But that expectation, it sets up a powerful paradox.
How so?
Because sometimes the most successful survival strategy is doing the exact opposite. The winners actually shrink.
Interesting. So today we're doing a deep dive into the world of pygmy animals.
Yep, species or subspecies that are markedly miniature compared to their closest relatives.
We're talking everything from fish and reptiles to birds and mammals.
All united by this radical reduction in size.
And our mission is to unpack the main theories explaining this phenomenon and figure out why being small sometimes wins the evolutionary lottery.
Sounds good.
Okay, let's unpack this.
So to start, maybe we should clarify what a pygmy animal actually is.
Good point. It's not just the runt of the litter.
Exactly. We're talking about distinct species or subspecies whose small size is the result of a separate long-term evolutionary path.
Right.
And the engine driving most of this change, the most common one anyway, is what scientists call island dwarfism.
Island dwarfism. It sounds simple enough, but you're saying it's a really powerful evolutionary force.
Yeah.
And sometimes quick.
It is, yeah. It's this phenomenon where an isolated island population gets dramatically smaller generation after generation.
How quick are we talking?
Well, sometimes it can stabilize in as little as, say, 2,000 or 3,000 years, which is pretty fast, evolutionarily speaking.
Wow, that's incredibly fast for such a major physical change. But why? Why does the evolutionary thinking suddenly flip entirely towards smallness in these isolated places?
Well, there are usually two main pressures working together. First, it's about a release of pressure.
Okay.
On an island, you often find fewer major predators or competitors.
Ah.
So if nothing's really actively hunting you, that critical need for a large body for defense or escape, it just kind of vanishes.
Yeah.
Natural selection stops favoring the big guys.
So if that big defensive body isn't needed anymore, the energy just maintaining it becomes a liability instead of an asset. Is that it?
Precisely. That reduced pressure is key. But the real hammer blow often comes from the second factor, limited resources.
Right. Islands are small.
A smaller island ecosystem simply cannot support the huge energy demands of massive creatures. So downsizing becomes the most efficient way to survive on less food, less water. You adapt to the constraints, or, well, you perish.
And we see the effects of this extreme isolation really clearly on this tiny island, Nosy Hara, off the coast of Madagascar. It's been cut off for, what, 20,000 years?
Yeah, it's like a perfect natural laboratory for dwarfism. They found a population of tiny island-dwelling pygmy lemurs there.
Lemurs? Okay.
And they observed that these lemurs were even smaller than the already pygmy ones found on the Madagascar mainland.
And didn't the researchers notice something striking about their behavior, too?
They did. They showed basically zero signs of being afraid of people.
Which is unusual for wild animals.
Very unusual. That behavioral trait is like a smoking gun. It implies they've lived free of major natural predators for millennia.
So if nothing's trying to eat you...
Why waste energy on fear? Or on defensive bulk? The energy saved by shrinking can be put into other things, like reproduction or just finding food.
And it's not just the mammals on Nosy Hara, right? They found some incredibly small reptiles, too.
Oh, yeah. One of the world's most diminutive chameleons lives there. It's called Brachysia micra.
How small are we talking? Like, actually small?
Tiny. This little reptile is only about 30 millimeters long.
30 millimeters.
If you stack two skittles end to end, that's roughly its length.
That's incredible. It's one of the smallest reptiles in the world, and just on that one island.
Just on Nosy Hara.
So what's the evolutionary win there? Just saving energy again?
Well, saving energy is part of it, but smallness can also be an active strategy to unlock new resources.
Oh, okay.
In the case of Brachysia micra, getting that incredibly small might have allowed them to exploit a very specific, minuscule habitat niche.
Like what?
Maybe feeding on tiny insects or using leaf litter in a way that creatures even slightly larger just can't manage. It basically opens up a whole new menu for them.
Okay, but the term island can be a bit misleading, can it? We think of these tiny specks of land, but island dwarfism can happen on much larger islands too, like with the Borneo pygmy elephant.
Absolutely. Borneo is huge, the third largest island in the world. Yet these elephants are a classic example of relative dwarfism. They're still elephants, obviously.
Also pretty big?
Oh, yeah. But they're distinct subspecies. They separated from their Asian elephant cousins maybe 300,000 years ago. That's plenty of time for the island environment to shape their physiology.
They're still massive, like you said, 2 to 3 meters tall, but significantly smaller than mainland Asian elephants.
Right. And what's fascinating is how the island environment seems to have dictated specific smaller traits beyond just overall size.
Like what?
They developed larger ears, relatively speaking, straighter tusks, and longer tails.
Huh. Any idea why?
It's likely adaptations to the specific Borneo environment. But there's another factor, too. Because they're a small, isolated population, they likely suffer from a lack of genetic diversity.
Right, a smaller gene pool.
And in a small gene pool, any genetic trait favoring smaller size can become fixed and spread much more rapidly through the population. It sort of accelerates the dwarfism effect.
That makes sense. So isolation doesn't just restrict resources. It can also supercharge the rate of evolutionary change for things like size.
Exactly.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting. What about animals that are pygmy, but they aren't on a literal island surrounded by ocean? Does that happen?
Oh, definitely. We just see the same pressures of confinement playing out, just in a different ecological setting. Think about the pygmy hippo of West Africa.
Ah, right. They live in forests.
Exactly. They're confined to an island of rainforest, surrounded by hostile savanna where they just can't survive. That patch of rainforest acts as their evolutionary isolation chamber.
And the size difference is huge, isn't it? The pygmy hippo is only about a tenth the size of the big river hippo.
It's a massive difference.
Hmm.
And their whole body shape reflects how they use that different habitat.
How so?
Well, river hippos spend most of their lives semi-aquatic.
Right.
So their eyes are way up on the very tops of their heads. Allows them to see, well, mostly underwater.
Okay.
But pygmy hippos are adapted to a nocturnal life in dense forest. Their eyes are more on the sides of their heads, which is better for looking around and navigating the forest floor at night.
So they're built differently, not for dominating a river, but for like tramping through swamps and undergrowth.
Precisely. Their feet are less webbed too, and their limbs are proportionally longer and maybe a bit more nimble. Perfect for moving through that dense forest, totally unlike the heavy, bulky build of their river cousins. The pressure of that restricted forest habitat forces them to specialize and downsize at the same time.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. We've talked about downsizing for efficiency in confined spaces. What about downsizing for active specialization or even defense, like the pygmy slow loris?
Ah, the slow loris. Yeah, they're nocturnal forest dwellers in Southeast Asia.
Known for moving really slowly through the trees.
Very slowly. They mainly feed on tree sap and gum, these specialized teeth to gouge the bark, but they'll also eat small insects and things.
But there's this incredible fact hidden away about them, isn't there? This slow-moving, tiny primate has an amazing defense.
It's truly unbelievable. The slow loris is the only known venomous primate in the world.
Venomous? A primate? How does that work?
They have glands on their forearms that secrete this potent oil, sort of venom. They lick these glands and mix the secretion with their saliva.
Okay.
And this creates a powerful, toxic bite. It's a serious defense mechanism, apparently capable of incapacitating much larger creatures, even potentially harming humans.
Wow, so that completely changes their survival strategy, doesn't it? Being small might make them seem vulnerable.
But it allows them to deploy this highly concentrated chemical defense that a bigger animal might not need,
Yeah.
or be able to produce as effectively relative to its size.
And don't they use it to protect their young, too?
They do.
Huh.
A mother pygmy slow loris will lick her baby all over with this venomous saliva before she leaves it to go foraging. Coats it in a toxic shield to deter predators.
Yeah, it's
Amazing.
incredible. So this necessity for extreme niche specialization, like being venomous or eating only sap, brings us to the second major evolutionary idea beyond island dwarfism, right? Character displacement.
Yes, that's a really crucial concept here.
Yeah.
Character displacement happens when you have similar species living in the same area. To avoid competing directly for the same food, they evolve differences. They adapt to exploit different resources, and this very often results in them evolving significantly different body sizes.
And the ultimate example of this has to be the pygmy marmoset, right? The world's tiniest primate.
Absolutely. Lives in the Amazon basin, weighs about as much as a stick of butter, just tiny.
And their diet is key.
Totally key. Unlike the larger monkeys and primates they share the rainforest with, the pygmy marmoset is an expert sapsucker and bug eater.
A very specific diet.
Very specific. And their minuscule size is a direct result of that diet. They need far fewer calories overall, and those small, scattered sources of tree sap and insects simply couldn't physically support a larger primate body. It dictates their size and forces a very low metabolic rate.
So if you want to exploit that particular food niche, you have to be small. It's not just like an option, it's a physiological requirement.
Exactly right. Smallness lets them occupy a physical and dietary space that bigger competitors just can't access.
Okay, so smallness isn't always just about managing resources or chemical warfare. Sometimes it's about pure strategy, like camouflage or even speed.
Definitely. Think about the pygmy seahorse.
Right, tiny little
They
things.
measure between, what, 1 and 3 centimeters? And they use that size mainly for defense. They blend absolutely seamlessly with the specific corals they live on in the Indian and Pacific Oceans.
So their strategy is basically invisibility.
Pretty much. You'd be incredibly hard-pressed to actually spot one. And in their world, being unseen is essentially the same as being untouchable by predators.
And then you have the complete opposite strategy with something like the pygmy owl. Tiny, but a hunter.
Yeah, no taller than a modern smartphone, roughly. And this bird is a real paradox when it comes to owl characteristics.
How so? It's an owl, but different.
Very different. Unlike most owls, it's diurnal. It hunts during the day, and it lacks those classic owl features like super silent flight feathers or that incredible night vision.
So how does being miniature help this little predator, especially during the day?
Speed and agility, that's the key. Their small size allows them the sheer quickness they need to specialize in hunting other small, fast daytime birds.
Well, like what kind of birds?
Things like chickadees, even hummingbirds.
Mm.
When your prey is that fast and darting around in daylight, being large and cumbersome is a disadvantage. Smallness is the requirement for the rapid acceleration and maneuverability needed to catch that kind of prey.
Wow. What a fantastic range of reasons for shrinking. It's really clear these miniature versions of animals didn't just, evolve to look small and cute.
Not at all. They are highly specialized evolutionary champions, each in their own way.
So if we sort of tie this all back together.
Yeah, if we connect it back to the bigger picture, we basically see maybe 3 key evolutionary paths leading to miniaturization.
Okay.
You've got island isolation and habitat confinement that limits resources and removes the pressure for defensive size.
Right.
Then you have character displacement, which forces a size change to let species exploit specialized diets without direct competition.
Got it.
And finally, you have smallness evolving as an active strategy in itself for things like camouflage, like the seahorse, or speed and agility, like the pygmy owl.
It's all about efficiency.
Miniaturization is just a really efficient evolutionary pathway to maximize survival within unique environmental niches.
So what does this all mean? Thinking about today, global environments are changing so rapidly, aren't they? Climate shifts, human development, chopping up habitats.
The pressures on species are constantly being rewritten. It's happening right now.
So does the future of survival belong more often to the big generalist species that can maybe adapt to lots of different environments? Or will evolutionary pressure increasingly favor these highly specialized miniature creatures?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It makes you wonder.
Yeah.
What new environmental pressures happening right now might be leading to even more miniaturization around the globe tomorrow? It's something to think about.